Sometimes I go away thinking that I haven't got like the full amount that I could have got out of the appointment, and that I'm just left with the same information as I already knew.
I think they're pretty well run, but sort of trying to get your point across is quite hard sometimes.
It doesn't feel like they particularly know you, so I mean, if I did have any troubles, I wouldn't feel like they would particularly pick them up unless I had to directly ask them, which sometimes could be difficult or awkward.
Yeah, quite often actually. I normally go in with quite a few things I want to bring up, but when they start talking about how I can improve and stuff, I normally forget quite quickly.
Yeah, all the time. You always walk in there with like 100 things that right, I need to ask this, I need to ask that, and then you walk out and you've asked maybe 2 of them. So just something simple like writing them down, it sounds stupid, but it would really help, but I never do it, just because you think, oh, I'll remember it this time.
But yeah, if you can't get your point across, you do come back thinking, oh, you know, they haven't really understood, they haven't answered my questions, and it will keep going.
I think normally it comes down to me or whoever the diabetic is to bring up the issue. Maybe if the doctor had some sort of personal information or some way of knowing more about the person, they could bring up something which maybe was more to do with the actual patient and make it more personal that way, other than just numbers and figures. It could be more hobbies and interests and how that affects it.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite nice sometimes it's not all about diabetes, otherwise you can feel a bit sort of interrogated. It's quite nice when they ask other questions and more sort of normal things rather than just about control, insulin and everything else. It's quite nice.
I think they have like a set criteria of what they want to get out of it, and they don't often think of what I want from it. Also, I tend to forget what I want to ask as well, so it doesn't help.
Sometimes it could be quite nervous, just about control and stuff, and if you're HbA1c, whether it's going to be as good as you think it's going to be and other things. So I think it'd be quite good if you could somehow like record that and take that in with you. And it's quite often you try and think of too much before you go in. You sort of think, oh, what questions do I need to remember? Any sort of points that have happened recently, obviously fresh in your mind, but because you have them every 3 or 6 months, sometimes you can sort of forget. So it'd help if you had something that you could, note all this down on and take it in with you.
Perhaps if I had like a list before I went in of what I wanted to discuss and get out of the appointment.
More planning, a way of having more structure to what I want instead of just what has to be done by the doctor. I think it would make it more, not so much as a chore to go, it would make it like something that you want to go if you know that it's actually you feel that it actually helps, rather than it's just a sort of a checklist to make sure that everything's running smoothly and sort of keep you on the same track. It could actually improve something. So if they had sort of new information on if you're doing this sort of work or this sort of sports, this is what you should be doing, or some people find this helps.